time for my Raw review. It's not really going to be like a Raw review as such this week, obviously, because it was the draft, so obviously like the matches and stuff didn't really count towards anything, but it's obviously I'm just going to be like talking about like what I think about the draft and about the picks and stuff and who's the move and things. So yeah, obviously when the first WWE draft happened in 2002, it was like quite a big thing. I thought, obviously it was mainly because there were so many wrestlers after like all the WCW wrestlers came into WWE, it was a bit like, whoa, we can't fit all these people on one show. So I understand like when they split it back then, you know, it was to stop there from being, you know, like too many people like on one show basically, and to allow like obviously a lot of like other wrestlers to like have like feuds and stuff. But obviously now I don't think the draft is as big a deal as it was, because it just seems like even though, you know, there's two separate shows, it's almost like the wrestlers are like always in the same feuds, and it's really boring. And they just seem to jump across the shows anyway. They don't keep them separate. Like back in the day, they would actually, it was very rare to have like an inter-promotional match. Like it only happened like maybe once or twice a year. Apart from that, like they would stay separate. And obviously I know back then when they only started like had one of like the heavyweight titles, it was a bit different. Like the champion could jump between shows, so yeah, that made this like some different feuds. But once they had like two titles and it kind of stayed that way, it was better. But now they just seem to jump across like the shows all the time, and it's a bit like, what, you know, like especially in like the last couple months, everybody seems to have been on like both shows, and it's a bit like, well, I wouldn't even have a clue who was on like which show properly anyway. And I think also like another thing is the fact that obviously now, like due to like, well, obviously like Undertaker isn't there anymore, Shawn Michaels gone, Chris Jericho's gone, obviously now Edge is retired, like a lot of like the main event like players basically are gone, you know, and they've got like a really weak main event kind of division. I remember back in, you know, when I first started wrestling, you know, it was like a really strong like, say like championship like material people. Obviously you had like The Rock, Austin, Undertaker, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Kane, even like Rikishi was in there, and you know you had Benoit, Jericho, and there was loads of them, and they like obviously didn't like all feud together at the same time. They kind of could keep it separate. But now, because I think everybody's seen all of this so much, like there's only so many times that you can see John Cena versus Randy Orton before it gets like really dull, and there's like not many combinations which they haven't already done. So anyway, that's just my kind of basic view on the draft and why I don't think it's as successful as it was anymore, like as successful now as it used to be. But anyway, so obviously all the matches that they had on Raw just basically determined which show would get the pick. So if the Smackdown like wrestler won, the Smackdown would get like a pick and vice versa. So the first pick was John Cena to go to Smackdown, which is a bit like, I thought that was going to happen. Obviously at the end of the show, you know, that he moved back to Raw, which was just stupid. But to be fair, I think that would have made more sense. John Cena should go to Smackdown, because to be fair, when he was on Smackdown, I know obviously his character's different now, but maybe if he was on Smackdown he would, I don't know, not like change his character, but SmackDown's just like a different kind of show really. I think he would do well on that. He has some fresh views. Obviously I was going to say like, you know, people like Alberto Del Rio and like Christian and stuff, obviously Alberto's moved on to Raw anyway, which is like messed up. But basically I thought it would be good. And if, you know, they're talking about like he said that, you know, he's going to face The Rock at WrestleMania for the WWE title. Maybe not win it this time, but like if he did, take the title over to SmackDown and, you know, have some feuds there, so then when The Rock comes back, The Rock could kind of go back on SmackDown, because obviously SmackDown used to be The Rock show, so it would make more sense for them to be like on SmackDown and then let like the people on Raw like build up another feud, because to be fair, if say John Cena is still on SmackDown when that feud's happening, well, all the other main event guys on like Raw are going to be a bit like, oh, what do we do, because no one's going to care about that match. But I'm kind of rambling, this probably doesn't make any sense, but this is just like what I thought. But no, so I thought it was very stupid for them to move Cena back onto Raw, because I just think he's, obviously, you know, he's boring anyway, he's like faced everybody, but just to move him off onto SmackDown and give some other guys on Raw a chance would be like a lot better. But, you know, that's WWE for you, they have no idea what they're doing. R-Truth's actual heel turn seems to be a good idea. He's actually a lot more interesting now that he's obviously, you know, gone a bit crazy. Obviously, so instead of, you know, doing the whole "what's up," he's just telling people to shut up, which is quite good, and he seems to, you know, be able to get a lot of heat off the crowd who works with him, which is a lot better. So I think possibly it's actually going to be a good move for him to go heel, because I just couldn't stand him as a face. He was so dull, and the whole "what's up" thing was just really annoying. But hopefully we'll see how this like progresses, and obviously hopefully his feud with Morrison won't be too dull. But you never know. Yeah, Michael Cole, just, it's getting boring now with this whole thing with interrupting like the women's matches. Yeah, okay, they aren't that great, but just let them have their match and stop interrupting every single one. I mean, it was amusing the first time, but when you keep doing this like every week now, it's a bit like, okay, we're really fed up with you. And I can't stand Michael Cole anyway, as you guys know. They are like busting his mouth open was really good. Obviously it wasn't supposed to happen, but it was actually quite funny anyway. I can't talk. My throat's gone really weird. So Rey Mysterio has been drafted to Raw, which is quite surprising, really. I mean, I just, you know, so Rey Mysterio basically is SmackDown, really. I can't really, has he been on Raw since, like, the first draft? I can't really remember. He might have been, might not, but probably has. That's just, my brain's gone blank. But it's just, I always seem to associate, like, the kind of smaller guys with SmackDown, really. You know, get, like, big main event players on Raw. But it'll be good to, you know, see how he gets on Raw, and obviously because Sin Cara's been like drafted onto SmackDown now, so they're on separate shows, which I guess is good in a way, because if you've got two guys who've got really similar style on one show, it might they might take away from like each other's, not talent, but you know what I mean. So Randy Orton's been drafted to SmackDown, which is unusual. I don't think Orton's been on SmackDown. I probably should have checked this before, because it makes me sound like I have no idea about what I'm talking about. But as far as I can remember, I don't think Orton's actually been on SmackDown, so it'd be interesting to see how he gets on over there. I don't know, like the people who are left for him to actually face on SmackDown. Well, the fact that they've made the tag team match at Extreme Rules a country whipping matches, why do they just come out with these really stupid gimmicks? I have no idea. I mean, it's going to be a dreadful match anyway, but the fact that they're going to be whipping each other with belts just makes it even more, like, unbearable to think about. Ugh. Extreme Rules is like a half and half. I'm really looking forward to the ladder match, and I think the cage match should be good. Cody Rhodes versus Rey in the Falls Count Anywhere match could also be good, and also CM Punk and Orton, but just that tag team match is going to be the one that completely lets it down, because if it's anything like the match at WrestleMania, I'm going to, like, rip my eyes out and chuck them out the window. Yeah, so then, like, the draft pick that, like, nobody cares about, Mark Henry got sent to SmackDown. It's like you have all these main event players, like, you've got, like, John Cena going over, Orton going over, Rey Mysterio, and it's, like, Mark Henry, and it's, like, nobody cares. Because Mark Henry, he's, like, on the show, like, once a month anyway, he does, like, nothing, so I don't see why that was, like, a big deal. Yeah, so Big Show, like I said, already Alberto Del Rio's, like, been drafted onto Raw as well, which should be interesting because of the title match on Sunday, so... See, because when I thought that Cena was going to SmackDown, I thought, oh, Cena's going to win and take the WWE title on SmackDown, and then Alberto's going to win and take the World Heavyweight title to Raw. But obviously now I'm not too sure what's going to happen, because I just don't know, I just don't really see Christian winning, because I'm surely if he does, he's going to know that it's only because of Edge retiring he's actually getting his shot, and then that'll just be... Ugh. So I'm still going to stick with Alberto, but obviously I don't know what's going to happen now. And obviously with Big Show going to Raw, or I don't know what's going to happen with, like, the tag team championships. Like, why do they do that? They, like, let the tag team win the titles and then they split them up in separate shows, and it's a bit like, what? It's a bit pointless. But, like, to be fair, I don't know what you guys think about, like, you know, obviously not, like, the World Heavyweight title anymore, but when they first started, they would let the Women's Champion and the World Heavyweight Champion go between both shows. If they maybe did, like, the tag team championships and maybe the, like, divas or whatever you want to call it, at least that would give it a bit of a kind of mix, so it won't be, like, stuck on the same show, because, like, with the diva situation, you've only got, like, a few who are actually capable of, you know, being the champion, whereas if they could, like, let them go between both shows, it'd be a bit more kind of variety. That's just a, like, you know, idea that I had, but I don't think they'll actually go back to doing that. Yeah, so then obviously the main event, it was actually really good. I like the team of Alberto Del Rio, Miz and CM Punk. I just thought they worked, like, really well together. It was, like, because I kind of didn't really realise that there was, like, such, like, a lot of heels on Raw, really, but they're actually quite, like, a good team, and just when they were celebrating their win together, I thought it was actually quite good to see, like, the heels, because you always see, like, the faces all really work together as a team, but the heels, actually, it looked quite good. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands when I'm talking, but no, I just thought it was, like, really good seeing them work together as, like, a team and stuff, and they actually looked like they could be quite, like, a good group as such. But anyway, and of course then the last pick was Cena getting drafted back to Raw, and it was just like, well, what was the point of that anyway? It just didn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't know if I've, like, read anyone who actually thought that that was, like, a good idea. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why bother even drafting SmackDown in the first place? But obviously there, so then in, like, the supplemental draft, it's like, it just seems like, the thing I have is that they, if rather than just drafting over a few who could, you know, make a bit of a difference, they seem to cross over, like, everybody, so it's almost like everybody's just crossing back over again, and, like, there's not really actually that much difference. I mean, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Ted DiBiase, like, you know, they're all going over to, like, SmackDown, and then they've, like, all, like, had feuds before, so if you see what I mean, it's not really like they're going to be facing new people, because all the same people are being moved over, and, like, vice versa. So I just think the draft is a bit of, you know, it's kind of not anywhere near to, like, the standard of what it used to be. It used to be quite, you know, like a big thing, you know, when they would get transferred over, but these days I just don't really think anyone cares that much, to be honest. But yeah, that was my kind of ramble. I don't really know if that makes sense. It's kind of just literally going, whoa, like everything that's coming into my head I was just trying to say. So, yeah, and obviously next week on Raw is The Rock's birthday party celebration. So at least they are seeming to be keeping him involved. Like, obviously not every single week, but I'm glad that they're not just not going to mention him again now until, like, you know, after like the Royal Rumble or something, because that would be a bit boring. So hopefully they'll just kind of keep the feud like interesting, because I just can't see it really working if they just kind of leave it and then suddenly it's like, oh, The Rock's back, like, you know, like a few weeks before WrestleMania. But yeah, so that was what I thought of Raw. I'm absolutely addicted to these, right? Obviously, like I said, so I finished Lent and I can eat chocolate again. I got these for my birthday, these mingles. I don't know if you get them, like, in America, I doubt it, but they are the most amazing thing in the world. I have an obsession with, like, mint chocolate, and there's, like, all these, like, different variations, so it's amazing. So if you're a mint chocolate fan like me, then comment and let me know, because people who like mint chocolate are awesome. I'm so addicted. I think I've gained, like, 20 pounds in, like, a day, because I've, like, eaten, like, half the box. But never mind. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now, because I feel like I've been talking for, like, absolutely ages. So yeah, so thank you for everyone who, like, you know, talks to me on, like, Twitter and Skype and stuff, and all of you guys who leave comments every week. You're great. And yeah, so thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.